I have 2 events over the next week, so I thought it was a good excuse to sew some pieces I've been thinking about. The first outfit I'm creating is to see Swan Lake at the National Ballet. I was thinking of making a top with an exaggerated cowl neck / turtleneck, and for the trousers I wanted to do really wide leg culottes. I started by going to the fabric store because I knew exactly what I needed, and I ended up getting this canvas for the trousers and this upholstery material for the top. After that, I went to get the notions that I needed, which included zippers and thread. The next thing I did was start on the pattern for the trousers. So I wanted to be around shin length, so I shortened it till there. The next thing I did was create a symmetrical pair on the other side. I widened the pants a little bit, and now I'm just going to shape them out. Okay, this is the shape that I'm at so far. I drafted the pockets, fly front, fly zip, and waistband, and then exported it to Illustrator so I could print. I ended up opting to print it at home because the print shop near me was quoting me $40, so I just did it at home. After that, I started drafting the top, and I ended up doing this just with a pencil and paper because I didn't have my block digitized to do it on Clo, and I understood what the pattern should look like in my head, and I thought it would just be faster to do it on pen and paper, and it basically was. Because I wasn't using Clo 3D and couldn't see it on the model, I ended up sewing a muslin, and the shape turned out how I wanted it to be. Here is a little image. This was at 12 a.m. because I worked during the day, so I look very disheveled, hence the cartoon version of me. But I did like the silhouette, so I moved forward with this pattern. So first I ironed my fabric. I then pinned my pattern piece onto the fabric and cut it out. Then I serged all the raw edges except for the armhole because I have a facing. So in terms of assembly sequence, I started by inserting the invisible zipper because it was the hardest part for me and I wanted to get it out of the way, so I did that. And I used an invisible zipper presser foot for a domestic machine. After that, I sewed together the side seams, the shoulder seams, and the seams that are on the cowl / turtleneck, and then I attached the armhole facing. And the last thing I did was sew the hem. Then I moved on to the trousers. I first ironed the fabric for pre-shrinking purposes, and then I assembled my paper pattern because I printed it at home. So I just attached the pages together by lining up the diamond markers. After that, I pinned the paper pattern to the fabric and cut out all my pattern pieces. I also cut out fuse for the fly front, the patch pocket, and the waistband. Next, I started sewing. I started off by sewing the back darts. Then I sewed the flap of the patch pocket, which is located at the top of the pattern piece, and I just did a straight stitch across. After that, I sewed the patch pocket onto the pants. And then I moved to the side seam pockets and sewed them on the front and back panels. The next thing I did was attach the zipper that was going to sit at the front of the pants. This also included sewing the fly zip and the fly front. After that, I attached the front pant pieces together by the seam below the zipper, and then I sewed the inseam and the side seams. And then I attached the waistband. Okay, so this is what we're working with right now. I finished the waistband last night at like 12 a.m. and didn't film it because I broke 3 needles. I didn't realize how thick the fabric was, and I definitely overestimated the ability of my machine, but it's okay. I ended up hand stitching the last little bit, but I didn't go around and do a top stitch because I'm honestly just scared. So I'm not going to do a top stitch. The last thing I'm going to do today is the button and buttonhole, and also I need to do the hem. I also did not press any of the seams, so I'm gonna go do that as well. And yeah, after that, I'm basically done. I also made the fatal flaw of not doing a curved waistband. Next time I will make a curved waistband because it kind of sits a little bit interestingly on my waist, but it's nothing crazy. Like, I don't really wear crop tops, so it's not that big of a deal. So I just started with the hem, and I double folded it over and did a top stitch all the way around. The very last thing I had to do was attach the button, and I was contemplating between two. I went with the greener one, and then also do the buttonhole, which was tragic. Okay, now I'm gonna attach the buttonhole. I did a couple test ones, and I'm gonna do it on the actual pants now. I really hope this works and looks nice. Or else I'm gonna have to take off the waistband, and that will send me over the edge. Okay. I think it worked. Let me check. Okay, so this side was fine, and then that side didn't even sew. I think I'm gonna just hand stitch it because I'm scared. I've been having issues with my machine for this project, so I might just hand stitch it. Okay, now I'm just gonna slice this open with an X-Acto knife and then go ahead and hand sew the button. After much struggle and strife, I finally finished, and this is how it turned out. I'm actually really happy despite all of the challenges. I really enjoy the outfit, and I also really enjoyed seeing Swan Lake. It was really beautiful. The second event was for Style Canada at Soho House. I decided to wear the same pants and just rejig the pattern for the top and make it a little bit different. So that's exactly what I did. I ended up changing the pattern at the neckline, the hem, and I also added some back darts. I also added bias binding to finish off the armholes instead of having a facing piece. I actually wasn't able to take any photos at the event because Soho House doesn't allow photo or video, but this top, it's definitely up there with some of my favorite pieces that I've made, and I'm really excited to try it out with different fabrics. I'm actually curious to know which one you guys like better, the first version or the second. Let me know. But this is the final top. I've already worn it multiple times. I love it. And I think after a few tweaks to the pattern, it'll be perfect. I just want to change how the hem is drafted and also change the back darts a little bit.